If you thought the trade war was just numbers on paper, wait until Japan actually hits back. Because this time, it's not just a deal. It's a counterattack aimed squarely at the US auto industry. From the White House, President Trump spoke with his usual confidence. He said it wasn't really a war with the world because everyone was coming. Japan is on the way, they're on the plane, and I know very well they're very tough negotiators, he asserted. But behind that optimism was a hard truth. The Trump administration was pressing Tokyo hard, especially on tariffs and the long-standing trade imbalance between the two countries. Tensions have escalated to a boiling point. And this time, Japan isn't just staying silent. They have sent clear signals about a potential economic backlash, a move that could have widespread ripple effects, particularly hitting the US auto industry, which is struggling with rising production costs and shaky demand. This is seen as a carefully calculated move by Japan in response to the growing restrictions on high-tech exports and trade frameworks from the US. The move clearly shows Japan's determination to exploit its superiority in the auto parts and electronic components industry. With core manufacturing capacity in Detroit being shaken, this trade war is threatening to reshape the entire global auto industry map. Everything exploded when the US unexpectedly reimposed high tariffs on imported cars from Mexico and Canada, a policy that created a chain reaction. However, there is an important detail that many in Washington do not realize. The cars being targeted in this policy are not actually American, made, but mostly Japanese. This is not just a consequence of broader trade policies, but also a direct attack on Japan's top strategic export, the auto industry. For decades, companies like Toyota, Honda, Nissan, and Mazda have poured billions of dollars into North American assembly plants, especially in Mexico, not to avoid US regulations, but to move closer to their core markets, reduce costs, and increase efficiency for consumers. Now, those same strategic investments are being targeted. The new tariffs are being pushed by Trump's re-election campaign and are supported by economic nationalists who want to restore domestic production. But the cost is not small. According to a CNBC report on March 19, 2025, the impact on Japanese automakers has been immediate. Toyota, which has several facilities in Mexico to produce its best-selling vehicles in the United States, and Honda, which has plants in both Ontario, Canada, and Mexico, have faced severe disruptions to their North American supply chains. These facilities serve not only as export hubs, but also as critical links in global value chains. The sudden change in policy has forced executives in Tokyo to rethink their entire business strategies, leading to a slight drop in the Tokyo share prices of both Toyota and Honda. Meanwhile, Mexican parts suppliers Dano and Isuzu, which have close ties to Japanese corporations, have issued cautious investment guidance amid urgent strategy meetings being held behind closed doors. The US president also revealed that he spoke directly with the Japanese Prime Minister this morning, and the content of the conversation was said to be frank. You have to open up the market because we can't sell a single car in Japan. Not a single car. They have sold millions of cars in the United States, but behind the financial numbers lies a more powerful message. Washington is weaponizing trade policy, blurring the lines between domestic politics and international relations. What worries Tokyo is not just the numbers, but the lack of warnings, negotiations, or exceptions for longtime allies. For Japan, the issue is not simply economics, it is trust, the cornerstone of all international business relationships. Initially reserved, Japanese automakers soon signaled their pushback. Toyota expressed frustration at the lack of dialogue. Nissan warned that consumers would be saddled with higher costs. And Honda, which rarely speaks out politically, warned that the new policies threatened to undo years of innovation and cross-border investment. These are not just pleasantries. They are calculated strategic moves. Instead of responding with words, Japanese automakers quietly ramped up their efforts in the labs, logistics chains, and product design layers. Their message was clear: if the US made imports difficult, Japan would make its exports indispensable. Just weeks later, Toyota ramped up production of its new hybrid engine in Japan, ready to go global. Since the Trump administration began in 2018, Japanese automakers have anticipated the protectionist trend and responded proactively. They have diversified their supply chains and invested in automation at home. Now those plans are accelerating. Honda is cutting production in Mexico and Canada and increasing production in Southeast Asia, especially Thailand. Nissan is focusing on small, low-cost electric cars for the American middle class, a segment where American automakers have difficulty competing. The Japanese government, through the Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, is also involved in assessing and coordinating responses with automakers. In Tokyo, the tone is cautious but resolute. Japan has faced trade tensions with the United States before, but this time it is in a rapidly changing global auto industry. Electric vehicles have become a new competitive battleground, and Japan, with its strengths in hybrids and battery technology, sees this as an opportunity to get ahead. According to AR News, Japanese investment is shifting strongly to sustainable transportation solutions. Toyota develops solid-state batteries. Nissan increases electric vehicles. Honda cooperates with General Motors on batteries. At the same time, production is shifting to low-cost countries such as Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia. The result: production from Mexico is decreasing while Southeast Asia is increasing rapidly. The US market is recording a shortage of Japanese cars, higher prices, and longer waiting times. Meanwhile, US cars still do not increase sales accordingly. Consumers continue to choose Japanese cars for their durability, economy, and price. New US tariffs are threatening jobs at parts suppliers, dealers, and logistics companies, especially in places with a strong Japanese presence like Michigan and Texas. Toyota, Honda, Nissan, and Mazda are all feeling the pinch, with smaller suppliers worried about reduced orders. In California, officials are warning of lost sales and jobs. And electric vehicle advocates fear the tariffs will hinder the transition to sustainable vehicles. Rather than respond loudly, Japan is taking quiet action. Nissan is accelerating production of compact electric cars for middle-class Americans. Toyota is shifting hybrid production to Japan and Thailand. Honda is focusing on next-generation batteries and increasing its purchases of components outside the US. Some companies are absorbing the tariffs to stay competitive and offering special financing packages at US dealerships. Trade reflects this trend. Exports from Mexico and Canada are down, while electric vehicles from Japan and Southeast Asia are up. Japan is also working closely with automakers to reduce its dependence on the US, while revaluing US bonds is a sign of waning confidence in the dollar. It is also strengthening ties with the EU and ASEAN, harmonizing global emission standards. The result: the tariffs backfire. Japanese brands hold more than 35% of the US passenger car market, with Toyota among the top sellers. The US trade war with Japan has backfired spectacularly. Japan's quiet counteroffensive has not only protected its own interests, but also exposed the vulnerabilities of the American auto industry. While US automakers struggle to adapt, Japanese brands continue to dominate the market, proving that economic warfare can have unexpected consequences. Don't miss out on more insightful analysis of global trade and the future of the auto industry. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more videos like this.